All right. So before we fully get into the mini presentation, we'd love to get a sense of who's in the room. So if you wouldn't mind dropping, your location, something else about yourself in the chat, that would be really great to kind of help us get a sense of who's here and what we could speak to. Great. Loving the different chats coming in. Glad to see we have some representation from outside of the US as well and across all over the US as well. Great. So just as a short introduction, I'm Penny. I'm coming in as the director of the HPHR Fellowship, and I'd love to introduce Candice, one of our co-editors for Harvard Public Health Review. Candice, if you'd like to say anything.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Super excited to have everybody here, one of the co-editors in chief of the Harvard Public Health Review. And I won't steal your thunder, Penny, so I will just say I'm excited because we started this fellowship back in May. So for those of you who are attending, this would be the second cohort for the fellowship. And yeah, I'll leave it there.
So I'm just gonna queue up a short presentation to get us grounded, and then we'll have time for questions at the end. All right, so just a quick overview of what Harvard Public Health Review is. The mission and vision of Harvard Public Health Review is to improve health at the local, national, and international levels. And to do that, Harvard Public Health Review is really interested in expanding the breadth of who is currently amplified and whose voices are part of the conversation of public health, and expanding the types of media that people engage with to learn about public health issues. So to that end, that's why Candice and Cersei, our other co-editor, and others of the Harvard Public Health Review team started the fellowship this past spring. And the mission and vision of the fellowship is to broaden the table of thought leadership in public health, advance collective impact for health equity and public health advocacy, and to really diversify and democratize academic publication and expression in public health. So to do that, we're providing a platform, training, and support to allow the next generation of public health thought leaders and public scholars to explore and grow their voice. So for another insight into this, what this means is that we're providing free professional development training on publishing, creating your own promotions and content, and a better sense of your own positionality within public health. So this will amount to 4 months of a platform to amplify your interest in public health with the support of a community of like-minded public health practitioners and editors, and a certificate of completion that you can, post anywhere that you would like for those who fulfill the minimum program requirements, which we just ask for 2 posts minimum per month and attendance at one event, whether that's a masterclass, whether that's an editor's meeting, whatever it is per month. And there are many additional opportunities to participate in Harvard Public Health Review's activities, additional trainings, and leadership. And Candice and Cersei are always expanding what Harvard Public Health Review does within its mission and vision. So there's lots of opportunities to get involved. And so fellows who graduate from this fellowship will gain technical skills in content creation and promotion, such that they should be able to start their own website very comfortably if they would like, and enhance confidence as a thought leader and public health expert, and a community of public health creators and advocates to embark on this training together. So why publish with Harvard Public Health Review and join this fellowship? Harvard Public Health Review has really expanded the eyes, especially during the COVID crisis. And we really have a lot of audience members who are engaging with our content from around the world. And here's some statistics on that. We can answer any questions related to that later on if anyone is interested. Further, so next, I'm going to briefly go over who would be a great candidate. So we're looking for people who have great writing skills and some understanding of public health already. So who are working towards, a bachelor's degree or higher degree in public health or a similar scientific field, or have significant work experience, because we understand sometimes there's, a lot of institutional barriers against getting into these programs and so on. So we also want people who really understand public health, at least, one aspect of it, and really you know how to use evidence, whether that's from scientific publications or interviews, qualitative, quantitative, what have you, to make an argument, make a point, something that's interesting to the audience. And we're really looking for someone who has a unique point of view that enriches discourse in public health issues. So, if you're someone who really loves maternal child health, we would love to have you. If you're someone who's looking at health equity and systemic issues, we would love to have you. Anything that sort of is unique and different and robust. And yes, if you've just completed your PhD, if you're still doing it, you are totally eligible. As long as you have some, experience in public health, that's sort of the type of candidate we're looking for. And secondly, we really want people who are able to produce robust and high quality blogs and vlogs. And what that means is that you have strong writing skills and a sense of what would be interesting to your audience, or strong video skills if that's the route you choose. We also expect fellows to be uploading their own content to our WordPress website and to make their own promotions. So it would be great if you have already some skills in that area, or you are ready and willing to learn how to engage with that, because that's the training we will provide to you. And then we also want people who are strongly motivated to complete the fellowship, those 8 posts minimum, and have the time management skills to be able to feasibly do so. And finally, we really look for people who are in alignment with HPHR's mission and vision. And so where do you actually submit your application? You have to go to this link, bit.ly /HPHR fellows 2 by July 16th. And this is case sensitive. So please type in this exact link, and then you'll get to a Google form where you will complete a short questionnaire, upload your CV or resume, and a sample blog post. Propose a content calendar of what you will talk about in each of your 8 minimum posts. You don't have to necessarily fulfill those, but we really want to get a sense of what your content is going to look like, to be able to get a sense of, whether you'd be the best fit or not. And then finally, we ask for a short video personal statement and a sample video and visual promotion for your blog. And it can be a sample blog post that you are creating specifically for this, or an example of a blog that you've written previously. Just up to you whether you want to, edit anything or, ramp it up for this particular platform, what have you. So we cannot look at anyone who submits their applications after July 16th, and incomplete applications will also not be considered. But this fellowship is going to run 3 times a year. So if you, don't get selected for this cohort, please consider applying again. The next cohort will run in January 2022. So look out for applications probably around November, December, something like that. So just to give you a fuller sense of what the application process will look like, after you complete the Google form, we will review all the applications, and the top candidates will be invited for a short interview. It will likely be on a weekend with a group of other candidates and editors, and we'll get to know you a little bit and sort of, what are your passions? Why would you be interested in this? How can this advance your professional and personal life? That kind of thing. And then we are looking to select 10, maybe up to 15 fellows by mid-August. And then the training program will start right after. So it is kind of a significant time commitment. We do think that from the fellows who are currently doing the programs now, one fellow has said that it takes her about 24 to 48 hours to research and write and edit for each of her posts. So if you break that down 2 times a month, about 24 hours, that is like a significant number of hours that typically would go into a high quality post. Just so you're aware before you get into the process. And then what additional opportunities exist after the fellowship? I think one of the most powerful parts of the fellowship is the exit opportunities, because the top roughly 5 fellows will be asked to stay on as columnists to continue to produce content for the Harvard Public Health Review website. but there's so many opportunities to stay involved with Harvard Public Health Review, whether it's the traditional publishing activities like as an editor or reviewer, joining in the master classes, or there's so many new special initiatives going on, from the Harvard Health News and TV initiatives to Best of Harvard Public Health Review, 30 under 30, 30 over 30, Public Health Awareness Week. And if you have the skills to back it up, we are very happy to let people run with activities of their own, as long as it fits within the Harvard Public Health Review mission and vision. And we love to sort of see how things continue to grow organically with the interests of the people who are actively participating and engaging in Harvard Public Health Review. And there's definitely opportunities to support the next fellowship cohort, whether that's running your own masterclass, joining in community chats. Yes, this time the July 16th deadline is going to be a hard deadline because we want to make sure everyone has the same opportunity to get reviewed, and we're trying to turn the reviews back very quickly. So please try to apply early and get your materials ahead of time. It's very straightforward, very simple application process. Shouldn't take too long as long as you have the materials ready. The sample blog could be something that someone wrote in a print journal, but we do ask that you produce your own work. So if it's something written in collaboration with other people, we ask that you don't, use that piece. So we are hoping to get the information back to folks by July 26th, after the July 16th deadline. So as you see, it's the very quick turnaround. And yes, this will be the last cohort for 2021. The next cohort will start in 2022. And it'll keep running. And yeah, there's a lot of additional training, mentorship, leadership opportunities. And we also really encourage people to publish their own commentaries, scientific research, research letters, etc. with Harvard Public Health Review. And so, yes, now we will head into the questions and answer section. I think we already got some great questions in the chat that I've tried to answer, but if there are other things, please feel free to post in the chat or unmute and ask.
Hi, my question is for the blog post, I guess both for the application and obviously also in the for the fellows. Is there like a when I say word count, like is there like ones to target? Just thinking about kind of what you guys look for.
Yes, for the word count, especially for the application, we do hope that you stay under about 750 words. It's in the application itself. So, if that means cutting something off, truncating it, or, adapting it for this format. And we do think that typically that's a good word limit for a blog generally, but we leave a lot of freedom to the fellows to produce their own content and set their own standards of what feels like a good fit for them.
Thank you.
And yes, for folks who aren't necessarily experts in public health, we won't discriminate against that, but we do expect that you have an interest in learning more about public health and advancing your expertise within that space. And whether that means you're interviewing people, whether you're examining public health from a different lens, we leave it up to you to be creative, and we'll take it from there. I see Jenny has her hand raised.
Hi, Penny. Hi, Candice. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It really is wonderful. My question is around the production of the materials that are going to be used potentially as to promote the blog post or the blogging or the podcast or vlogging, etc. So after you have been selected, will there be some feedback around some of these materials, or will they actually potentially be the materials that would be used by Harvard Public Review? What does that process look like? Thank you.
Yes, totally. So we definitely leave a lot of freedom to the fellows to determine how they want to express themselves and represent themselves. So, Candice and myself will look over everything and provide, our personal feedback on what we think of your materials. And we will have additional trainings with, experts in blogging and vlogging and social media who can help to kind of give you some more information about, to help you decide, do I want to change that? Do I want to change this? And then you're definitely free to change anything, tweak anything as you want. We just are here to support you in making this the best experience possible. I see Jacqueline also has her hand raised.
Yeah, hi, thank you. I think you kind of answered that question, but my question was on the application. It says to give 8 sample blog titles and description of it. So really, I'm wondering, are we committed completely to those topics as we move forward, or is if something else interesting comes up and we want to alter that, it sounds like we can do that from what you were describing in your last answer.
Yes. So we asked for the 8 sample posts just to give us a clear idea of what your blog would look like. So just a description sometimes isn't able to capture some of the nuances of, this will be a vlog format, this will be an interview with et cetera person. But it is sort of a living situation, so that if you feel that if your blog is something that is very current events focused, or something happens in the world that you want to respond to, definitely feel free to do so. It's just to give us a sense of like, what exactly would your blog look like, to be able to compare with other folks who are applying.
Great, thank you.
And I also see a question in the chat about elaborating on the video requirements, personal statement, and sample video. So in the application, there's a prompt for the questions we would like to see you respond to in your personal statement. And this, just do a selfie. It's no high tech, nothing fancy. Just record yourself on your phone or your laptop, whatever, and you can upload it there. And we just asked her a couple of questions to understand sort of more about you, why this is interesting to you, how this will support your growth, to help us to narrow the pool down to the top applicants. And we do ask that you submit one video file that has the personal statement as well as your sample promotions in one file. And you can use something like canva.com or other free websites to help splice that together. If there are issues with uploading the files, like it hits the limit of the form, please send the videos directly to harvardphr@gmail.com, and I will be able to take it from there so that the reviewers can all see your materials. And yes, the sample blog post should resonate somewhat with the topic you plan to work on throughout the fellowship. It doesn't have to, but it's just another way for us to get a sense of, is this based on everything that we've seen, does this person and this blog in particular, this particular topic, seem like a good fit? And I also saw a question about the benefits. Do you mean the general benefits of like this slide, to whoever was asking about it? So I'll just leave this up for a second and then also skip down to the additional opportunities, in case that is of interest to folks.
Penny, do you mind?
Yes.
Do you mind? So Jacqueline's question about the content calendar, I just wanted to say a little bit more about that as well. As Penny mentioned, it doesn't hold people accountable, but I think with our selection committee, it gives us a strong sense of the content you're going to create. So we really hope that people are very thoughtful in this, because it really does let us know, like, well, what are the themes that you're going to cover? And even though people won't be held to this, like, people will be selected based on that. So if you say that your content is going to be, like this very niche area and, sexual reproductive health, that's going to potentially sway us in choosing you. So if you then change that, you have the right to do that. But it's just so you know, like, we really want to gauge based off that, because when we select the cohort, it's going to be diverse in terms of the content that people produce. So if you have a lot of content that says you're going to be, as I said, sexual reproductive health or health policy or environmental health, we will select that, but all the 10 fellows will have something different. So then if you change it later, that just might be something that we weren't necessarily expecting. The other thing is too, we found that fellows who had content calendars to begin with found the fellowship to be a little bit easier than those who didn't. So definitely use it as a planning tool as well. So not only to impress us with the things that you're going to bring to the fellowship, but also to be able to help get started with the fellowship as well. And, even though 2 blog posts or 2 vlogs or 2 podcasts are the things that are required, we definitely encourage people to create more. So if that's something that people can do, we're also looking for people who are quite prolific as well. So definitely mention that in your application, because that's something that we would really appreciate too. Thanks, Penny.
Yes, and to add on to that, if you have experience running a blog, creating content or creating social media, like that's the kind of thing that we would love to know. So please mention that in your personal statement when we ask you about your experience. And Shauna, I see you have a question about the two parts of the video. Do you mean in terms of the video promotion and the video personal statement? Because generally, this will be, the instructions are all on the Google Form application itself, and you should be able to follow along from there. And this presentation, as well as the recording of the session, will be uploaded on the HPHR or Harvard Public Health Review.org/fellowship info. I think it's fellowship info, or maybe it's just fellowship website. If you go on Harvard Public Health Review.org and at the top you select fellowship, it will all be there. Yes, and the sample blog post, we just ask that you keep to the 750 word count, because last cohort we had about 100 people apply. So, you know, it just makes it easier for us to help review. So, yes, we're not gonna, like, you know, go down and copy paste to see exactly how long everyone's post is, but we do ask that you do so that it's easier for us to review you as well. In terms of the specific examples of professional development opportunities available in content creation and promotion, I will start to answer this, and I believe Candice might have some additional insight. So we'll have trainings from people who have, you know, award-winning blogs and podcasts and, you know, worked in TV, that kind of thing. They will be speaking with us to, you know, help you get started on your own content, and to help you train on, like, you know, technical things like search engine optimization and how do you create the perfect visual and these kinds of things, so that, like, you know, for those who may not be selected for the next step of becoming a columnist, they are still prepared to be able to start their own blogs and content. Yes, so if you go on the application link, it will give you all the instructions necessary for how to, you know, provide the materials that we are looking for, and, you know, do whatever feels appropriate. No restrictions on the kinds of videos or promotions, etc. In terms of the audience, the blog posts and social media should target, we leave that up to you and sort of what you think. We also ask you to specify who you think your target audience is, because for some people that could be other scientists, it could be other public health people, it could be general public. That kind of depends on the specific person and their blog. So we do ask that you specify to us who you think your audience is, and that's sort of what we will judge that based on. And the fellowship will last 4 months. The recruitment is front loaded just because, you know, we need to have enough time to get everything together to be able to then move on to the trainings and then set you up to success in producing the actual content throughout the 4 months. So in terms of the trainings, because we are inviting guests who, you know, have packed calendars, it's going to be, we'll do our best to make it at times that everyone who is, you know, working full time in a different time zone, etc., can attend as much as possible. But we will also record the sessions that don't have any sensitive content and have that, make that accessible to folks. And we have recordings from previous cohort as well, for people to follow along on their own time. Yes, sessions will be mandatory, either watching it, the recording, or attending live. Shoka, I'm not sure I understand your question about video timing and area of focus. If you would like to ask it yourself, we would be happy to have you unmute. Darius, if you are happy to design it yourself, please feel free to. If you have an agreement with someone else, Candice, unless you have something else to say, I think that's totally fine. But we will be asking you to upload that through the Harvard Public Health Review. We have a Hootsuite and MailChimp to produce our social media promotions and release them. So it'll just be, you can have the person create it, but then you have to be uploading it. Candice?
Yeah, I was just going to say that actually is fantastic. If people do have partnerships, I think it'd be great for people to be transparent about that, so we know what your skill set is versus what partnerships you may have. That's another thing that we would appreciate, especially if you have partnerships with people who would be able to do things for Harvard Public Health Review in other areas as well. So yeah, just that's totally fine. Just definitely let us know what you are doing versus what someone else is doing for you.
Yes, and just to add to that, I do add a little declaration at the end that all the material you've submitted to us is your own personal work or has been credited to the relevant people. We, as a publication journal, we take plagiarism pretty seriously. So that is just something that, hope that works for everyone, or, it's not maybe not the best fit. In terms of the video, we do have the prompts in the instructions itself, but I can also pull it up to say it now so everyone is able to listen to it. So we do ask you to answer 4 questions in your personal statement part of the video. We ask, what is your interest, passion, background, etc. in public health? Why are you interested in this fellowship in particular and in Harvard Public Health Review? How will this fellowship advance your personal or professional goals? And what do you expect to get out of this opportunity? And what previous experiences have you had that will help you succeed in this fellowship? And then we ask for 2 types of promotions. One is a short video. It can just be a selfie of you like talking to the screen and saying like, who are you? What is your blog about? And what can you expect from your blog? Anything related to that, whatever feels comfortable. And then we do ask for a short animation or still image, something that would be appropriate for like Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, that kind of thing. But you only need to create 1 image because that image will be used for all these platforms. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions yet.
Can I just hop in, Penny? And can
Yes.
I also say, so just from the experience of reviewing applicants for the first fellowship, the application we take very seriously. And so we basically people who put a lot of effort into answering all the questions, we truly appreciate that. It's a very quick way to kind of deselect someone if they didn't put a lot of thought into some of the things that they're saying, introducing themselves. If something as simple as not really knowing or understanding the mission and the vision of Harvard Public Health Review is an easy way to like lose points for us. So it definitely is, in your best interest if you're going to apply to make the application as strong as possible because it is a very competitive process and we really want to be able to have the best fellows, so that we can put a lot of resources in them so that they can have, that thought leadership platform with us.
And for the question about examples, now that you guys are in the second cohort rather than the inaugural cohort, we do have a lot of sample blogs from the previous cohort. If you would go to Harvard Public Health Review .org and then go to the blogs link, I'm gonna try and pull it up so I can post it in the chat as well. There's a blogs link at the top in the menu, and it is just blogs. Here you can see some examples of what the current fellows have been producing. For the video, you can use any application or normal mobile phone video camera. We just ask that you please splice together the personal statement and the promotions into 1 file so that we can upload it easily for the reviewers to access. And there's still, so in terms of the creation for the promotions, we leave it up to you what is most comfortable, but just think about this, like typically you would want to have enough information for people to be able to find your content. So please include as much as you think is relevant, and that will also be a factor for sort of what we're judging you on, is sort of what you think is relevant to include in this kind of promotion. And again, like you're not necessarily, you can still make tweaks to the content after you've submitted these samples to us. So don't feel that like it's has to be perfect or end all be all. Things have some slight tweaks after. Yeah, and if people want to ask about particular questions about the experience of being a fellow rather than just the application, I was also a fellow this time around, so please feel free to ask questions about that as well.
Penny, when are we going to do the breakout rooms? We have a couple of the current fellows here already, so I didn't know if we want to do that now or.
Great, that is perfect. I was not able to see the chat. So, okay. So Candice, do you have a sense of how many current fellows are on the chat?
I think we have close to 5, but maybe if it makes sense for the current fellows in the room, if you guys could raise your hand and or turn on your cameras, that would be great. I'm going to call out Hannah because I definitely know definitely know she's in the room, but there's a couple other people as well.
Okay.
And I know, so here's the thing, I gave people the registered link for myself. So yeah, so Elizana, you might want to change your name because there might be like 5 different Candice Carpenters in the room.
That's why I kept seeing Candice Carpenter joining, and I was like, Candice, how many times are you going to join on your phone or other device? But totally makes sense.
That's
All right,
hilarious.
so I'm seeing at least Hannah and Elizana. Anyone else?
I think we have Studi and Butul as well on the call. I'm not sure if they had jumped off or not, but.
Well, I'm going to create 4 different breakout rooms for now, and it's self-selecting. So, please, Hannah and Elizana go to different rooms from myself and Candice, and we can answer any particular questions people have. And I guess I will stay in the main room in case people want to ask me questions. Yeah, so for anyone who's just joining, we have the option of going to one of 3 breakout rooms or staying here to ask questions of current fellows, HPHR staff, and myself. So if you have any personal questions about the application, about the experience of being a fellow, please feel free to unmute and ask your question. Or join one of the breakout rooms to talk to someone else.
Hi, Penny. I'm Felicia.
Hello.
I'll just stay here. I'm still here.
All right, do you have anything you'd like to chat about? Oh, sorry, I can't hear you. I still can't hear you, but feel free to use the chat if that's helpful. I can see you're talking, but I can't hear anything. Feel free to type it in the chat if that's okay. Okay, I thought I heard something from you again, Alicia. Yes, Jenny?
Hi, Penny. So yeah, thank you again for holding this opportunity for us to ask questions. I think my question for you really was, in terms of like geographical diversity, what are you really trying to achieve? I'm Scottish, but I would often be categorized as British. I often find in global health and public health that the British are represented by people from the southeast of England. That's why I was really inclined to apply, because I'd really like to hear a voice like mine and an accent like mine on a platform like the Harvard Public Health Review. So my question is really about regional diversity and representation, what you're hoping to achieve, and who you would like to take forward for the next set of fellowships.
Yeah, totally. So when you do something like this and you're looking for diversity as a component, it's definitely more of an art than a science. So we don't have any like sort of like, oh, we have to have 2 fellows from Asia region, 2 fellows from Africa region, and 2 fellows from, it's sort of more of an art and a science of sort of, who would benefit the most from this fellowship? Who is most likely to succeed based on their previous evidence of previous, scholarship, previous work experiences, previous experiences doing this kind of publication, content creation, and then also sort of like what topics are they interested in public health? Like, we want to have a mixture of people who are focusing on current events, specific topics in public health, whatever, what have you. And then we also want a sense of, we want to have a diversity of thought in terms of like the types of experience, lived experience that people would be bringing with them. So, we're not going to say like, there has to be, 2 fellows from Europe and therefore like we want like someone from this country and someone from that country. It's much more just like we want to make sure that we're capturing a range of experiences and voices and thoughts and perspectives. So it's just to get us a sense of, so that we don't have 10 fellows who are all in the US, but we have some mixture of people from different places who can bring different thoughts, experiences, concerns to the forefront of public health discussion and debate.
Okay, thank you, Penny.
Felicia, do you want to try again with the unmuting? Okay. I see Silla has their hand raised.
Yes, hi Penny. So it's
Hello.
pronounced as Silla. It's
Okay.
pronounced as Silla. So I actually wanted to ask you a question regarding your experience in the fellowship, because I believe that the cohort 1 is still ongoing and you're also a participant in that. And I actually had the chance of reading your blog, but then I could only read one of the blogs. I was not able to find maybe a link that has the other blogs included. So I just wanted to ask that, so is there like a proper link that has your other blogs, or like is your work still ongoing?
Yes, so my content is ongoing. I do have a bunch of interviews to be scheduled, but I am starting a new job, so I haven't been able to get them on the books yet. So there's more content to come about things like colonialism, trauma, languishing, stuff in this area. So there's more to come. It just I haven't gotten to, get the scheduled interviews on the books yet. So there's more to come, but please feel free to check out all the other fellows as well. They have great content too.
Oh, that is very interesting, and definitely I will look into the other content as well. And I also wanted to ask, so like all the content, is it published on the HPHR website, is it, or is there any other medium that the fellows use and then link it to the HPHR website?
Yes, so the fellows currently all publish on harvardpublichealthreview.org under the blogs part. So we have one WordPress backend for all of our content, including blogs and published journal applications. So it's all there in one place. And we do have some fellows who have their own websites. So there are different partnerships that can be made for how to negotiate moving content off to another site or bringing content from there to here. And we're always happy to have these discussions and create a tailored plan.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Jenny, I see your hand is still raised. Do you have another question?
No, sorry, it's just raised. Still raised.
Right. So if anyone else has any other questions, I'm happy to answer. And feel free to also join one of the breakout rooms and talk to someone else who might have a different experience. I think it'll be really worthwhile to kind of hear from some of the other fellows.
I have a quick question.
Yes, totally.
So is there a review process for any blog that's published, just as one would expect for an actual publication in a journal? And what is that like?
So we will have folks like Candice and Cersei, who are our co-editors, myself, and some of the fellows from the last cohort who have more experience with the website and the kind of content we're looking for, to review each. So what you'll do is you'll create your content and upload it as a private message on WordPress, and then someone will review it before it becomes published to the public. So then, if they have any concerns around editing style, citation style, or you should define this term because the general public might not understand it, or small changes to grammar, these kinds of things, they will let you know, and you'll have the opportunity to make these edits before it goes live. But it's not like some sort of rigorous process like a normal journal article would have with 2 reviewers and significant changes expected to the content. I think generally we select people who feel pretty confident in the type of content they'll create. So it's just a matter of small changes to grammar, citations, these kinds of things.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and then for folks who want a little bit more support from their editor to get a little bit more feedback, just please negotiate that with your editor. We're happy to provide more feedback and help you to feel more confident and grow as a writer. It's just up to sort of what type of feedback you feel most comfortable with. Because we'll also have folks who have written a lot, are very prolific and very comfortable with their voice, and just really are hoping to benefit from the platform. For the description, I didn't set a particular limit, but would 200 words be like Brian, what kinds of extremes are you thinking at this point? Yeah, I think that's perfect. It's just so that we have a chance to, if we do get, as we did last time, about 100 applications, that's quite tedious to review in just 10 days. So I think 150 words is perfect for us to be able to get a sense of, as a maximum, a sense of what you're going for and what your content would look like, but not too much. Silla? Sorry, Silla.
Yes, I just had another question because right now you were just talking about editing and the process that we'll go through, because I have been working, I have some experience of working as as a content writer, but then I believe that the content you write for creative writing is different from what you write for an academic writing. So I just wanted to ask that, is it going to follow the same format that usually creative contents have on websites when they're trying to just uplift their SEO?
Yeah, so I do think most people are going to be more on the creative side, whether storytelling or making argument or whatever. And we will have someone come on to discuss sort of what journalists, the inverted triangle of the headline and then the subject matter afterwards, to help you feel more comfortable with that. So it shouldn't necessarily be like an academic publication type of very dry and concise language. You should feel free to use metaphor and similes and all those fun creative aspects. But at the end of the day, it's your content. So if you feel more comfortable using a little bit more of a scientific voice, I would say whatever is most appropriate for your audience is going to be the best fit. All right, I'm gonna bring everyone back for any last questions. This meeting is being recorded. Oh, so sorry. Just one minute. All right. Okay. So thank you all for joining. I wanted to leave some time at the end for any last minute questions that anyone wanted to say to the group. And while we're waiting for that, I do have a quick poll that, you know, if you would like to respond, it just kind of helps us get a sense of, you know, where people are in this process, and, you know, should we make more promotions? Should we, you know, start to remind people that the application is due at a certain time? And again, if you have any other questions or concerns, if you are having trouble with the application website, please reach out to harvardphr@gmail.com, and one of the editors will get back to you, or myself will get back to you as soon as possible. All right, thank you all for staying, and I hope you enjoyed the session. We look forward to all of your applications and hope that you are interested and feel supported to apply. And again, finally, the application is due in 2 weeks, or no, at the end of this week, July 16th, on Friday. So if there's any, if this doesn't just work out for your timing, please feel free to stay tuned. We will have another cohort coming in the winter/spring session. So
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.